now, and I am super happy to see that the groups from Monday came back, so we do keep our plan. I can unfold a little bit what happened on Monday to people who were not here. We were designing exhibitions very quickly, the quickest time you can design exhibition. Like, can you design an exhibition in 30 minutes? Yes, you can. So these results we will have in the form of presentations by the groups. This will be the beginning of our meeting today. We have 3 groups. We have 3 exhibitions which are designed for the exhibition space on the 4th floor. And the content, what the groups were working with, was the collection of Rytų Daughter Museum in Karasjok, which has a collection of indigenous Sami arts, around 2,000 of the artworks. But your colleagues received only 50 of those to work with. So this will be the first part. I would think we will take this kind of a conference format where the presenters are presenting up to 10 minutes, and then we all are coming up with the questions. Is that a good suggestion? And I'm thinking we have one digital presentation and other presentations with the plan. Yeah, so we will need to move a little bit. I would suggest that digital presentation can be as it is, and then we will come as big group around the working space of the group, and there will be presentation, and we will ask some questions, and then we will take one by one project.
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah? Okay, then let's move all to the plan.
Read the text, you read the keywords, and you can explain what happened. So our exhibition is called Fisheries, and
It's nice to see the images.
Kačka will read the keywords now.
Yeah, the keywords of the exhibition are humans, animals, landscape, point of view, observation, gaze, and Sami.
And I will read the exhibition text. Working with artifacts belonging to culture that is not our own brings great responsibility. Multiplicity of perspective we as curators should consider brought us to the one that is more or less unknown to all people, the perspective of an animal. Our exhibition is divided into 2 rooms, each representing the Sami landscape. Nature, as a crucial part of Sami culture, is observed by the eye of an animal in one room and of a person in the other room. Visitors entrance each of the rooms separately, welcomed by the gaze of photographs. Representation of the Sami landscape should feel more familiar in one of the rooms, as that is the one of people, whereas the other room might be rather concerning. That is for the lack of knowledge we have about how animals see the world, and the odds are that it is not how we are showing it in the exhibition. However, it demonstrates how people of different culture cannot understand each other's visual heritage without greater research, knowledge, and understanding. And you can explain that.
So vicarious literally means experience through another's eyes, or to experience in place of another. And here, as you can see, there are 2 eyes that we have chosen. One is from the perspective of the animal, and one is from the perspective of humans. And to divide the exhibition, we chose the same net here in this in this artwork. So we will divide the exhibition in 2 parts with this same net, and we have chosen the 6 artworks because we did not really want we wanted a minimal experience for the viewer. And personally, in some exhibitions I have experienced, when there are like a lot of artworks, it leaves the viewer feeling very tired because of the creative processing one has to do. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and these 4 artworks are chosen like we were thinking about how the animals see the landscape or the world basically, and how humans see. So from the 50 artworks we chose artworks which we thought are most good to the points of view of the animals or of the humans.
I was about to ask the question, did you have any considerations behind the artworks themselves, these 6 artworks as those individual in the space?
For the animal perspective, I read somewhere that animals have more color receptors in their eyes besides, like, compared to us. So we chose like colorful artworks for the animals' perspective because apparently they see more colors than us.
Now it's time for questions. So I will ask especially the members of the group who were not on Monday. Maybe it's even much more fun. You came into the space now's presentation. If there are some questions in mind. All questions are.
How visitors penetrate the net? Like, will it be divided so you can't go through, or it will be some portal?
You can't go through, you can enter it to separate
different entrances.
Yeah.
Have you thought about some audio installation into this exhibition?
No, we thought of it as just like visual.
No sounds.
No.
Yeah, because we didn't have enough time to discuss this part, but we were discussing the curatorial text, which could be, I think, here on this wall, like projected or written, or we discussed just some ideas.
There's an empty space.
Yeah, but we haven't decided it.
It's not here because
because here's lots of empty space, so probably the text will be somewhere here. Yeah.
Have you thought about putting some object into the space and not on the walls? A part of the fence. You know, that's like an object itself, but
there wasn't many objects in the
50.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about human and animal perspective, so I have a question. Yeah, so the first question. I have noticed that animals are not allowed in the campus. There was this, no animals. Are animals allowed into the exhibition as, let's say, the perspective of spectatorship? I would think also in the exhibition last week there was the case of the owner of the dogs coming with the dogs in the space, and I would think that for the owner of the animals it might be different experience to come in the space with the animals or without the animals. And of course there have been all these different projects also. Castle document, was it year 2012 when the dog with the pink leg was running around. So the question is from the side of spectators, have you been thinking something towards, is it the completely classical mode of spectatorship, or do you want also to have some kind of a human-animal presence in the space? Do you have some guidance where your spectators are coming? Should they start with that side or with that side, or doesn't matter?
I think because we are admitting that we don't know how the animal observes the world, we are just trying to represent that if you have some culture you don't understand, you will always have to look at it as you would look at the vision of the animal, so that's unknown for you, and because of that it doesn't really matter if the dog see it or not, because it's just a doc for that. It's more like a question of the cultures and how to approach them, I think.
More questions?
It would be great to make a dog-friendly vernissage and reflect, for example, put the camera to the dog's bracelet and see how the dog see the exhibition from his perspective from the floor. And it would be great, for example, small video or tablet with this video.
That could be very fun.
Just my fantasy.
And we were also discussing the lighting of the exhibition. We were thinking about using some reflectors which are just yeah, and pointing. So so it simulates the view of
the gaze.
The gaze, yeah.
It's a good idea because it's very necessary to work with some scenographic moment. Yeah. And I think that it's a pity to have the text here, yeah, because it's the perfect space maybe for some the video installation or maybe sound, yeah, and some the space maybe for maybe accompanying program, yeah.
Yeah, but we haven't any in the.
Yeah,
we had just 50 artworks from Sami.
For future, yeah.
Yeah,
Thinking about it, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very nice thought comes from example which I showed you, this exhibition which made my students in summer, also from this collection. It was 3 curators who were doing it. They were saying artworks are there, but we are creating 2 new works into the space. And that was super visitor friendly because suddenly visitor could do some embroidery in the construction which they have created. So it can be dependent how long do you want your visitor to stay. If you want your visitor to come see and that's it, then good. If you want your visitor to catch for 1 hour or more, then you need to find out some tricks how to do it.
I really like performativity decision in the beginning that the visitor should choose which room to visit first and decorate their own experience to make a decision.
Well, they have to come to both rooms eventually because the text will be only in the one. So you might be a little confused in the first one.
So you would like that they will firstly come to the room with the text or use?
It doesn't really matter. I think it's just they would eventually have to go to both.
I have an idea that here can be the text written because it's the part of animals and they don't talk, and here it can be like in a speech.
But they can write, right?
No, they can, yeah, but it was just now idea.
Like
that's all.
Yeah, I think we have time for the first.
Wonderful. Do the group has some questions to us, or are you happy with the questions? Do you want something more from your listeners, or are you happy with our
happy
reactions? Okay, then thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now who is up for the second presentation?
Us?
Yeah, then
Good job.
Good, yeah.
So for our exhibition, we've chosen the name Chromatic Perspectives because from the beginning we were working with the contrast between the black and white photos, the kind of pale colored watercolors, and then the bright abstract paintings by Matheson. We kind of wanted to show the difference between like the perception of the world that's shown on the black and white photographs, how this one is the closest to real life, Then in the watercolors of the landscape, you can kind of see the landscape, but in a very abstract way. And then the Matheson paintings are completely abstract. The exhibition is about seeing wrong or seeing wrong colors as you age, since the artists are either very old or, as Matheson is dead now. So we wanted to make it about how the perception of the world changes.
I need to say a correction. He is very much alive.
He's alive. Aha, okay. Well, he's old. He's also old. Doesn't matter. Oops. And we wanted to keep Matheson in the middle because he kind of like joins this idea together. Maybe can we just read. Like about how Matheson worked, or
yeah. So Matheson, from the young age, he began to map the Sami settlement area, which extends over Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia, and to inscribe it in a Sami language. In doing so, Matheson did not adhere to the territorial division of European nation states that many Sami could not see with their own eyes that the homeland of our people are much more extensive than originally thought. I believe it has contributed to the strengthening of Sami identity, both of individual and group level, and those particularly giving content to Sapmi, a term now in common use. So that's what he states.
And we wanted to keep like one part of the curatorial text and the name here, like about the colors and aging, and then maybe something about Matheson here, because like I said, we wanted to keep this painting in the center. So we were thinking about putting a wall here and then adding something about Matheson's life here to make the exhibition more personal.
And what about the lights? Are you going to put for each picture a single light above the painting, or?
Probably yes, because the watercolors are quite small. So yeah, that's why we also put so many. We thought that the minimal number of exhibited pieces was 8, so we exhibited 9. And since the paintings are really small, I guess there will be individual lights.
Yeah, and it can support the ambient atmosphere in the space. I like it.
And you have idea about this installation in the middle, the main the piece? It's on the extra wall, or
an extra wall. Yeah, an extra wall, and like you can walk like this from both.
Good idea, because we didn't work with this Sami central installation on the rampart.
I have a question. This project from the presentation seems for me as a listener and a future viewer to have a very clear, so to say, hierarchies as such. It seems with the text behind and with the mode of presentation that your focus is very much on Hans Ragnar Matheson. And I am curious, your standpoint as the curators in this show, or also maybe if you can remember some previous shows from your experience, when there is an exhibition, and at least I interpret it, but please disagree if I'm wrong, if in the exhibition some artworks seem to be placed as very dominating, and I simply cannot unsee it that the one in the middle, it will be dominated. It is like completely different setup, and also text on another side. What is your opinion? How do you deal with hierarchies in the exhibitions of what is the most dominating art to work, if it is in the center or maybe it is on the, yeah, that kind of question.
Like, I understand the question. I think the reason why we put Matthiessen in the middle was because, like you said, that he's like a classic, and we thought that he could be like a bridge for people who don't really know Sami art to start to understand Sami art. We didn't really have enough time to think about like where would we put the text about the two other artists. So I guess on the same wall we could also write something about the other artists.
Mm-hmm. Another question. Because now I think the huge matter of curiosity is leading to the question that, well, the artwork is open for reading, and the artwork can be exhibited in different contexts, building up different narratives. And it's, you know, the same two artworks are there, and they are there, and they are in very different contexts and narratives. So maybe the question to both groups, because it is very, very interesting situation. It is an example in a way that if you are picking up artworks from the museum collection, it can be that same artwork end up in this context, and in that context, and in that, and in that. How many truths are within interpretation of the artworks, and maybe the question to both groups, if you know from your maybe previous experience the case of an artwork coming to different, like very different or a little bit different contexts, and is it difficult for curator, or is it easier? How is it for curator to create completely different narrative about the same artwork? Do you think it's a complicated task for the curator? Because now we see the same artworks.
Well, to be honest, we only looked we only kind of researched Matthiessen, and we didn't research the other artists. So I think that if we would have researched the other artists, we could like see a different narrative through the pieces. But we didn't have much time, so we just kind of looked at it and made the artworks our own. Yeah.
I think it only depends on how long you look at the artwork, and you can brainstorm many possibilities to the narratives. I think it's not that. I think it's more easier than complicated, because you always, when you see some artwork, you always think about more stories than just one. I think.
And often you are influenced by the text, for example, or by the person who you talk about. For example, this photography. For example, if I speak with you about it, I will be influenced by your experience and your knowledge about this art piece. And if I can speak, for example, with Nicole, so we will talk about our interpretation in maybe more fantasy.
So curatorial work is enhancing creativity, isn't it?
It's maybe the one of the goals.
The main goals.
So more questions. Thank you so much for the presentation. And now the third group, where do you want us? Do you want us to stand, or do you want us to sit? We have the screen there. And the slides, you know.
Oh, okay.
So somebody from the group needs to navigate the slides. Are you supposed to do that?
So hi, good morning. Welcome to to our project in this created like studio workshop. And we are presenting through time. We thought it was a good name for starting, because our presentation or like plan is like a chronology gallery plane, because it starts from the 50s until the 2022, and we wanted like to have a good path for everyone to just start in the first and end in the more contemporary art actually. We wanted to represent all kinds of Sami art, like the stamped ones, the paintings, the photography, and more like abstract themes in the final part that they connect with the first part too. I think like we had these K words, like it all represents like representation, identity, like common cultural experience, or gaze about it, like how we see it, because we are not from Sami culture. We are trying to be respectful with them, but we don't know that much about them. And the memory, the community, the nature, the river of time, it will be like memory too, but it's more like flowing by the time and trying to understand how different it was from the 50s and how different it is now to represent the same like kind of theme. And we made like trying to see gallery how it's going to see for you when you go there. And we wanted like to mix more bigger canvases and more bigger pieces of art with more smaller ones, because I think if you only have like the biggest one, it's going to be like so overwhelming, because visual communication is like a lot of images, and having small ones is going to let you breathe more and trying to focus in something smaller. And we have there the representation. You can see that it's chronologically, this part, and you can see to the difference of the kind of techniques they use it for it. And I think what is interesting from this first part is like Marija told us that the cat is like a big symbol for Sami people, so maybe when they come to the exhibition they're going to feel related with the first ones, because it's more like an expression of their first symbol, that it's this little cat. I don't know exactly what it means because I'm not from the Sami culture, but I think it's so interesting that everything was like nature and more abstract and like not a lot of figurative art, and then you have like these two little cats and they're looking at you. So I thought it was like more interesting this way. You can add something if you want. It's okay.
So, because Sami art, it's more about like they express their messages through the shapes, the geometric shapes, the circles, the lines, and that's what we wanted to represent. So there was a visual symphony between all the artworks. So when the visitor, they enter the gallery, they can choose to start looking at the artworks from the 50s, or they could choose the artworks from the contemporary times, the more recent times. And we chose to put the artworks in a chronological way because we wanted the viewers to have more like a physical space to explore the environment around them and to interpret the artworks according to their own experiences, what they see in the wall and what they feel about it. Yeah. Do you have something to add?
I also think that we choose works that are in color, which have similar colors in them, like they're repeating themselves from the first works from 50s and all the way to the modern times. And you can see these colors in the photography work by Holm, which is a famous photographer. And you can see the colors of the interior space which he took a photo of kind of corresponds with the other artworks, and that these colors are reappearing through the exhibition. And
And I wanted to add that she told us too, like that this artist, the photography artist, he's like working on pedagogy with Sami art too. So I thought it was interesting that maybe photography is not the main thing in the exhibition, but we wanted to put them in the view of the people, because this one is so interesting, that how like life it is, like so like the day by day, and you can see through the landscape and the nature outside. So they are kind of mix these things always, like the experience in life with the nature scene. So I think it's so interesting how he's trying to do pedagogy at the same time with this art, because you told me like he's trying to, like with this kind of projects, like to try people to understand more the Sami art through a pedagogy vision. So I thought like he will be like so interesting for the exhibition, just to, because people will know about the cats, will know about this photograph, like people who are from the Sami culture. And I thought that for them, that they are going to a Sami exhibition, maybe planned by people that it's not from Sami culture, they will be good to have some real symbols there for they to feel like intimate. Yeah, of course. And then yeah, we have these ones too. Like you see, this one is a big one, and then we have the smaller ones, because if you only have like 2 big ones, it's going to be like too much for, I don't know, for me it's going to be overwhelming. So I kind of like that we put like the smaller ones together, just to like have options to see something smaller and something bigger at the same time. And that's all, I think. You can see, yeah, you can see again the plant. And we put here like more black and white artworks, and then we have here more like colored one. And I think they use it more colors in the final part of the contemporary art, and from the first they were more like monochromatic and everything. And I thought that it's interesting too, because they just changed from monochromatic to more colorful faces. And I think that's all. Thank you for hearing us today.
Okay, wonderful. Time for questions.
I think that it's very important that you work with some chronological moment, yeah, because it's very important that you are starting with some of the representation of some Sami culture and how to do it, yeah, via some of the shapes and colorful and black and white version and multiple of media. And at the same time, chronological moment is very important for your presentation. Yeah.
And because mostly our group comprised of artists, we are not curators. The most important thing for us was the visual codes. So we were focusing more on the visual codes and how it would make us feel inside the gallery as we work. So.
Yeah, and it's perfect to work with some of the tour and the side and direction, yeah, for visitors, yeah. And for example, in my curricular work, I'm working with this moment, yeah, because it's important to have on the maybe the first view, some text, curricular text with some explanation, and maybe some of the key for future audience for interpretation, and then to prepare some of the way in the gallery, yeah.
That was very interesting strategies to work with, and the flow of decision making for me some kind of reminder if you would be working on a book on Sami art, and the educational book on Sami art, and find the starting point at this and that, and the nuance with printmaking, it was very well noticed by you, because these artists were very keen on printmaking, and Oegop here, and Hans Ragnar, and all this team of artists active in 60s, 70s, 80s. They basically, now there is no printmaking studio there because maybe because people are more working on I don't know, large scale installation, participatory performance, all that kind of thing. But then, in the times when these people were young artists, they have made the printmaking studio with all this deep print, lithography, so on, and people could come basically very close to Karasjok and print the things. Now they cannot. Now if they need to do it, they need to fly to Tromsø, and Tromsø is like this 600, 800 kilometers. So that with achromatic, it's very nicely noticed. But the question for you, what is the main intention of this exhibition? Is this exhibition, presentation, educational content for people who do not know Sami art? How would you?
I think for me it was educational, so I wanted people to have the same experience because I don't know about Sami culture that much, and I thought that maybe in my own view, maybe I will be like so narcissist or able to say like I know Sami culture and then I'm going to do whatever because I know what to put there. So I was trying just to learn about the culture and then trying to figure out how people is going to understand and learn about it too. So for us, for me, I think I don't know you guys. For me, it was like more like trying people to have pedagogy view with this because. At the same time, I was confused too. Like I don't know that much from the culture, so I really needed to share these like feelings with the viewer too. So I think it's something.
I think our exhibition it has all three elements. It is informative, it is educational, thus it gives a space for the viewers to interpret it on their own. So definitely, if we were curating this exhibition, we would have educational materials for people from other cultures to understand Sami art better and to see the chronological growth of how it has evolved now. And yeah, I think we as curators, we have like a vision to include all three of these things: to be educational, to be informative, to have a space. So yeah.
Some more questions.
I really like that you was thinking about proportions, and I noticed how beautiful works communicated from the proportions side. Like from the first glance, I noticed that it's a lot of communication between colors and techniques, but then when I see these small close-ups, it just was very poetic in the way how proportions communicate between each other. This probably was one of my favorite parts somehow. I really like it.
I really like to the pieces of art. They were like too big or too small. So it was not a lot of things in the middle. It was like too big or too small. So I was like excited to see that they really liked the bigger and smaller canvases. So I really thought how they are going to be together and not like missing each other, because sometimes you are not focused for one piece because you have another one in the other side that it's more colorful or more bigger or everything. So I just like kind of that, like I like it.
And it was intentional that we didn't choose to place any artworks in the middle of the gallery because we know how ramp a gallery is, and if there's a lot of viewers at the same time, it's hard to move and give a lot of space to the other viewers. That's why we wanted to have as much physical space as possible.
Yeah, that is a very interesting idea, because coming back to the project with the artwork in the middle, the one question which curators always need to think about, and everyone needs to think about is, you know, insurance and securing situation that artworks are not being damaged. And for example, that wall in the middle, of course, I do imagine that it will be secured to the loft in that way that if someone leans, it doesn't collapse. So all those other more boring things of insurance, security, that is also part of this thinking towards the exhibition making. But more of the general question, so how was for all the groups to receive something and to do something out of what you received? What strategy did you apply in the groups? How was it to work in the groups generally? Any feedback on more of the processual take? Was it comfortable to work on this content? Any thoughts of the group work with the unfamiliar content after 1 week of intensive learning about Sami art? That kind of question, the long one. Did it go well for you?
It was very well for us as a group because we were collaborating a lot on the visual codes, and we could understand each other a lot. And I think the information that's provided here, it's enough for a curator to make decisions on how they want to curate the exhibition. So I guess it was pleasant for us.
I think everyone has their strengths, their strengths on something. So, like I'm a good communicator. They are so good in like researching and putting things together because I'm so messy. I'm always so messy. And the other friend that couldn't came, she's so good on PowerPoint. She made a PowerPoint. She's just like so cool on designing it. So we just kind of take the strengths of everyone and put all the work together. So I think that's why we worked so well too.
Yeah, and I really want to mention that like our decision-making process was at first that we just choose the artworks visually appealing to each of us, and then we kind of showed each other what artworks we like. We found some common artworks, and then we kind of came up with a strategy about what we are going to do with these artworks that we choose. And we started to do more like...
And think more on the lens of interpretation.
Yes, aside from just the visual language.
Okay. For other groups, how did it go? The internal curatorial kitchen question.
On kitchen doing cakes. I think we worked together well. We agreed on everything. I think from the start we both knew what we wanted to make, what kind of exhibition we wanted to make. We liked the same artworks, and then we just worked well together. What do you think? So like no problem.
All was good.
It was my first time working on a project with the curational studies students, and to my surprise, it was very pleasant because they will suggest something that like really clicks with my mind, and I felt that we were on the same wavelength, and to discuss and to pitch ideas, it was really nice working with them.
Yeah, I agree. We enjoyed that.
Super. And I can say that that kind of things will be coming all the time when after you graduate. You know, people do not have time. Most of people do not have time, and it's so seldom when the meetings between people involved in one group are longer than 1 hour. It's kind of you book a meeting with your colleagues, and that's usually that 1 hour, and maybe there is some follow-up meeting in 1 month, or maybe some other, but that's kind of this 1 hour alike of framework that is most likely the situations where you will end up working with people maybe whom you do not know that well. But thank you to all the groups. Okay, now the applause. Very well done. So now I have a crucial question. Are you in need for the break or we go further? You can slowly start and then people will join because the time is slipping away.
You can take it.
Yeah.
Let's do.
Okay, so now we are going into the very last part of this intensive 2-week many sessions, where 6 sessions at all about Sami art and about Baltic Sami interconnections.
What is attendance?
For this very last session, I was thinking that very natural questions are coming, so what now? What is next? And I can say, from my perspective, what would be the suggestion to you of what could be next? Well, please be curious about the projects, the gallery activity, the opportunities which are available in the north, because it is very, very often case that institutions are looking for a curator as a gallery in Denmark or Tromsø, this Arctic region. If you feel like this could be the content of your work, then it's only the matter of curiosity and looking for the open calls if you are up to travel north and doing something. So please be curious. Also, I know that Luleå Biennale is in Sweden. Luleå is also part of Sápmi from the Swedish side. They are each 2 years looking for the curators. And now the curators are not Swedish, not Sápmi. This is the group of one Berlin-based curator and one curator, if I am not mistaken, now from Chile, but I might be mistaken. So in any case, Luleå Biennale is coming up next year. Each 2 years they are looking for people to curate this event. Sami Triennale is also something coming up, starting in summer and then continuation up till the year 26. And this is more the event where you could come definitely as Erasmus exchange students if you are interested in that. Sami Center for Contemporary Art is very open to send invitation letters to welcome you in the space. Sápmi Triennale is planned in February year 25. So many things for you can happen as next if you are interested in, if this is something exciting for you. And in my case also I can say that my strategy of working where I'm working now was exactly the same was what I am saying and encouraging you, because I was just following up open calls, and I was to several interviews, and well, it became this place which I'm very happy. So just to be active and curious, and that could be a meeting for you with the Arctic North, which is a beautiful place, absolutely. A little bit cold, but beautiful. Yeah, and now I will say a few things. What is Sami Center for Contemporary Art up to next, because I have heard that some of curators are coming to supermarket art fair. Is anyone coming from the group? Okay.
They were here, but now they left.
Okay.
It's like a big group, actually, of 4 or 5.
They are now discussing the other.
Very cool. So it seems like some of the colleagues will meet my colleagues in Supermarket Art Fair, because there the Art Center is having a booth as in the Art Fair context it is, and we are presenting 3 artists. So while I'm talking, you can also look at the artworks of one of the artists, Thomas Kolbensson. So basically, yeah, I will be just talking, it's no sound there, just for the visual. So I have been starting to work with this artist in the professional milieus in 2022. I mentioned already this to you, the first lecture, but this collaboration is continuous because the artist Thomas Kolbensson is participating in several of collaborative projects with other venues, and also he is one of the 3 artists who are to be presented in Supermarket Art Fair. And the booth which we will present is educational booth. That's why my question was to your group, is this educational content, because I have been thinking through this lens of Sami art and education for the last 1 year since I wrote proposal to Supermarket Art Fair. So it will be a film about Thomas Kolbensson, Lena Stenberg. Also, I showed, you remember those slides where the musicians are, 2 musicians are performing in her exhibition. So Lena Stenberg will be also present with the video. And of course, since when we had this Monday task, I think I kept on asking people, so how do you deal with different generations? So I did have this question somewhere. So basically, we are now looking at Thomas Kolbensson while I'm talking about Supermarket Art Fair, because he's coming to be one of the artists of our booths. But since I'm very much thinking about the issue of different generations present in the landscape of Sami art, very active young people, so Martha Lil Sombe, who is, she has a bachelor from Tromsø Art Academy, she is a very young and active artist, she will be the 3rd representative. And basically she will be present in our booth at the Supermarket Art Fair. So those people who will be in Supermarket, please come by, visit, meet Martha Lil. She will be there to talk to you and to the guests. Very open, very nice artist and person, very easy to talk to. This is the very first time Sami Center for Contemporary Art is coming to the Art Fair. You won't believe. The institution is existent from the year 1986, and this is a very big step for us coming to this art fair, because basically from this step also I can say that, well, from curatorial manager kitchen, I am super proud and super happy that we are very properly coming to this Supermarket Art Fair, because we have full funding from Sami Parliament, and this is so cool that political institution understands that it is urgent for the Art Center to come out and to be present. I'm thinking, would you like to take a seat? Is it? It's fine. It's fine, because I'm just talking, but yeah. From this context, also I can share with you the thought that, you know, this is the first time, but now as we will come to Supermarket, it also gives me a little bit more empowerment to talk to different institutions and places, that it is an urge for us to be at the art fair. So hopefully it's the first step to go to the next art fair and next and next and next. And we already have invitation from Art Vilnius. They are hoping that we will be able to come by. So this is the very, very near future for me, and also for part of your group meeting in Stockholm at Supermarket Art Fair. But also my point of view with participation in the art fairs, and I don't know, yeah, please be critical over this thought which I have. I would think that for this kind of art it is much bigger urge to have this pedagogical content, to have artists present in the booth, to have artists ready to talk, to communicate with those passers by, or video screening, this kind of participation in the art fair where people would not buy something from us but would learn something from us. And I do not know, am I mistaken? Should I be more of a business person who wants to sell art? I do not know. What experiences do you have with the art fairs? Is it like, what have you enjoyed at the art fairs? The situation of selling, buying, or the situation of more of this interactive approach?
I've only been on artistic run spaces, art fairs, so it looked clearly for me that it's more about networking than sales. But yeah, I was only on the one side of the art fairs, of course. I never was a participant yet of the more commercial aimed art fairs. But as an artist, I felt it was extremely useful for my career to have an opportunity to network, and maybe in the long time distance, it's even more productive and helpful for my career than to make a sell.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought, and I can say that, well, I'm not saying that, well, something is more beneficial, something is less beneficial. Of course, all artists need money, that's a fact, and all artists need good deals with the art venues that do not take 80% of your payment of the artwork, right? So that is perhaps the art fair environment where you will come to navigate, and that's absolutely your own matter of decision. How do you navigate? Art fairs are good, and so to say, from my perspective, I'm now hoping that our art center will do touring from one to another art fair, because it's time. After Corona, people can travel, people can enjoy traveling, so why not to do it? If the artists will be interested, and if, of course, everything depends. If the team is interested, then we are ready to go to distant places. If, yeah, the same like we had here, that's why I had these questions, how the teams work. Everything depends on a good mode of work between the team members. So,
we have questions.
Yes?
I have a question. I really love when I go to an exhibition and I feel like, oh, I will buy that for my house. Like I will literally, I think these artists too, like it has some pieces that I would love to buy, but the main thing is like, how many, as a curator, you know it was sold from your artist exhibitors you had, like how many they sold the pieces of art?
That is very good. That is very, very good question, because now the question is for this situation in the art center. So I will gladly share with you the guidelines which we are having in the art center. So basically, we have these exhibition halls, but something what you do not see on this video is foyer, and foyer is the shop. Where each person who is Sami and who is member of Artists Union can send up to 15 artworks. We have as small commission as we can have, it's 30%. And just from day-to-day situation, I can say that, well, we On good days, we usually sell 2-3 of the artworks from the shop, and those good days are usually, well, 2-3 days per week. And that can be very small things, postcards. Sometimes the artist would give to us the silk screen artworks remade into the postcards, and that is very loved by the tourists, because we have so many tourists, and this is the artwork which is this postcard, like very, very aesthetical production. We also have the images as two-dimensional images, jewelry, glass art. Another thing is with the exhibition, and this is the advice for all the curators, so everyone who is working with these managemental tasks, that, well, to work as much as possible with the communication of the artworks, and because that takes effort, but why not to work like that, having contacts of people who are choosing the artworks at the collections. Basically, when the new exhibition comes, this kind of video, but you know, this is working with the camera, but at least people then kind of know what is there, and then the list of the photographs. It's the standard package what I'm sending to several museum collections, and that has results, not each time, but that has results, and sometimes that has the top results. We are so happy to write an email to the artist that, well, this huge artwork is now the part of the collection. And in these situations, we also take commission 30%. So that would mean that very much depended on the price of the artworks. And if this is that huge artwork which costs that very nice amount of money, then also the art institution gets nice part of the amount. So there is a lot of communication and a lot of strategy how to approach people in a friendly way, that people feel that it is a nice communication that we are doing, inviting people, having coffee meetings together with people who are also decision makers, sending visual material. And of course, a person will always say, that's, I don't want that you send material about the next exhibition, that's enough, you don't have budget or something like that, but unless people are saying this explicitly, it's always okay to call, to send, because it is the very friendly gesture from you as the curators. It's a very friendly gesture. You can imagine that for people who are decision makers, it's also a huge effort to reach out and see this and that exhibition. And there are so many exhibitions, so it is a service you are making for people who are in the decision-making position. So from this, my very long talking, but the short, how to say, the short outcome that communication is the key to these kind of deals.
And sorry, small question. You have more buyers from museums, or you have more buyers like individual persons, like they have like a collection or something?
Very good question. Very good question. Because again, it depends if the exhibitions we are talking about, or if the shop. Because in the shop, it is 98% of individual customers, unless it is an organization who are maybe buying gifts for one or another occasion. If we are talking about exhibitions, it is mostly collections. I don't know why. That is a very good question to think about. How is it here? in the art institutions mostly collectors or individuals who are interested in, like from rumors? I'm asking about the rumors. But I do not know. I do not know. Maybe that also is a bit of this connection that institutions have money and they have a plan to buy that and that amount of artworks per year, and the situation with individual people maybe it's like less structured, because when do I have a mood to have something on that wall? Maybe it is kind of the thing that institutional work is more structured and they have the plans to fulfill. But it is very difficult to answer, actually. That is very, very difficult to answer. But yeah, the art fairs, it is fun to work with, highly encouraged, be it the commercial or educational project, it's always fun. I am thinking like that. For me, more educational is fun than commercial in that context. But as you understood, I do work with sales also quite a lot. So what is next after that? In the work of Sami Center for Contemporary Art. Sami Triennale is the first ever Sami Art Triennale in the history of that region. So here we are as well developing something hopefully coming back, because as I told in the previous lectures that we are working with a lot of pilot projects, but the issue is how to keep the project going. It's much more difficult to keep the project going. And also, if you see the years there, then I can just say that in the context of our art center, you know, one director works for 4 years, and then the next person. So this is kind of the project when there is huge hope for 10, 15 or more years to come, but the things are that this will always be the new person taking over the project because of this duration of the contracts that we are having. And in our art center in year 25, we have opening on 6th of February of this event. The images will be just a few images I have selected to show to you. 25 artists are selected from 100 applications. So that's also, I can say in the north, 100 applications to receive is very good. Also because there are not that many artists working in the north. So basically when we are receiving that amount, we are very, very happy. And the representation, again, I come back to my issue with different generations. So here, different generations and artists with very different qualifications or approaches are in here. So Maga, I showed you 2 images, because the first image is presentation of a work in progress, and another is the photo from Rovaniemi, University of Lapland, where she just a few weeks ago defended her doctoral degree. So this is the visual outcome of her doctoral degree. The main artwork behind the doctoral degree, of course, it's always many hundreds of pages to write besides the visual outcome, but this same artwork is coming to Sami Triennale. I am thinking that it is a very, very cool journey of the artwork, first being directly connected to Ph.D. research and then becoming part of this Triennale exhibition. And just to explain a bit of the context, why this Triennale is so important, because we are 5 art museums and art centers working together. So in Karasjok Art Center, then Bodø Culture Capital, it's the Culture Capital project in Norway, then Kunstmuseet in Norway, it's the museum in Sweden, in Kiruna, that's also part of Sami. Like all the museums are located in this part of Sami area. And museum in Rovaniemi, Korundi, and in year 26, Oulu culture capital. And why I'm saying about the scope, so you can imagine that these 25 artists have been selected to the exhibition, which is touring from one culture capital in Norway to another culture capital project in Finland. That is very cool, I think, because that means that those 25 artworks by 25 artists will be seen by many, many hundreds of people. And that's what we want as the artists and curators, don't we? We want as many as possible people who see our works. Professor Gunvor Guttorm is the classicer within Sami art and the person who actually established education in Doji, in this traditional handicrafts. And now this education has bachelor, master, and PhD. Also about this I was talking, but this person is also part of Sami Triennale. And Christine Löke, this image I have selected because I was in the House of Arts and I saw this was a very similar artwork. Yeah, so that's very interesting how the ideas are like zeitgeist, perhaps. It seemed for you that, yeah, I have selected those 4 representations of the artworks Sami Triennale because I just wanted to show that we are including, or well, not we, I was not part of the jury, very consciously, because I am not the one to choose Sami artists. I'm not Sami, so I would step back always from these kinds of roles. Like I'm more of the kind of manager, if I'm allowed to be. But this just shows to you that in such scale of very, very big, very important event, we do want to include those people who are very big and important names, those people who are from the research side, and the active artists from the area. So it's always the desire of including everyone from different representation circles. And why Sami Triennale is needed, why now, and what is going on with this project. So basically, you know that Sami art was presented in the Nordic Pavilion 22. So in 22, I was not part of it because I was not yet affiliated with the institution. But in the year 23, Nordic Pavilion in the Architecture Biennale was the artwork of Jörn Nango, Girjagumpi, and this is Girjagumpi, and this Girjagumpi is standing just in front of our art center. So just for the context, Girja in Sami is the books, and Gumpi is this kind of structure of house would be something very traditional now for the reindeer herders to have around in those places where they have the reindeer when they are relocating. They have usually the snowmobile who is having this gumpi behind and having an oven inside. People have a possibility to overnight stay with their animals. So it's like very practical thing. But Girja Gumpi is the artwork of Jörn Nango, who is architect and an artist and activist. And inside of it, he collected different truly the books, Gumpi, part of the title, so the books are there, but also different artifacts from Sami culture. So you do not see those because they are not allowed to store outdoors, because you can imagine what can happen to the books if you put them outdoor. That's not an option. But here is the same Giriagumpi, but much more unfolded. So can you see this small S with a little bit of logo? This is part of the sign from our art center in Karasjok. So you can imagine 10 years ago, it was a sign on our art center, and like part of it is cut and put into this Giriagumpi because we were not using it anymore. It was changed to another sign. So kind of that kind of artifacts you are now going to collect in there. And Giriagumpi took entire Nordic pavilion. If someone have someone been in the Nordic pavilion. Yeah, so you know that size. And of course you can imagine that when it is in our art center, it's like this size, and then all the books which are inside are being put into our library. In the Nordic pavilion, people were working for around a month to extend this Giriagumpi to much more of the constructions, also places where people can sit down. Here you can see the photo, it was the video room constructed, so of course it was much more scaled up. And basically after this architecture Biennale project, now Giriagumpi, the same one, is transported to Borneo Culture Capital. Borneo Culture Capital is the same project where we are starting our Sami Triennale, and after that, most likely it will be coming back to our art center. But here I'm just telling this broad and wide story to get to you more understanding that all these art institutions and all these infrastructures, we are working very closely on day-to-day basis, and it's kind of part of from week to the second week, from one to another, because a lot of projects are overlapping, and we are kind of there and here, and then we were also involved in this Nordic pavilion. So it's a lot of planning which is being done together with another institutions. That's why the more you work in groups, the more you are trained to this kind of work. Of course, we are planning our 7 exhibitions each year at the Art Center. And here I just put some keywords to you as maybe the last step of this our 1.5 weeks meeting. For me, this is something what feels like working. Non-hierarchy of narratives. Many narratives are equal in the same time, in the same space. Active listening and involvement of all experiences and knowledge. Openness for new narratives to arrive. Openness to the dialogues with the new actors and communities. Focus on ethical curating of indigenous art and ethical production of artistic content around indigenous themes. Because I'm working as an artist, I have my studio in Karasjok where I do my paintings and a lot of other stuff, but I would never deal with Sami themes in my work. Never. I don't know that it will never come into my artworks because I'm not the right person to deal with those themes. But I am working a lot with the theme of landscape and kind of me as Lithuanian person being in this Arctic North, and a lot of his history connections are also there with Lithuanian people being deported to the northern parts of Siberia. So like that's my themes. I would never take any of the Sami themes into my art. That feels not right. Western perspective on curating does not exclude indigenous perspective on curating. Indigenous perspective on curating does not exclude the Western perspective on curating. The pluriverse is the world where many worlds coexist and are equal. So this pluriverse is the term from Arturo Escobar, and pluriverse means many different truths or ontologies existing at the same time and being acceptable or equal in that. So these have become kind of keywords from this same perspective what I'm talking now, to summarize everything, that there is a lot of collaborations in this kind of work which I was presenting to you. That's a lot of same institutions included in a lot of projects to be and to come, and in these institutions there is always new people, and that is kind of part of this very, very dynamic work which happens in the North. That was all of my presentation. So I have first distributed the small catalogs, but here also my institutional contacts. Yeah, so now is the summary of the summary of these meetings which we had. I would use just a few sentences to summarize that. Well, this is a very interesting sphere to work with, requires acknowledgement of own knowledge and own limitations within knowledge, and here one comes into this question of ethical work, which perhaps this matter of for one's self-acknowledgement, what I can do, what I cannot do, can be the way to avoid possible misunderstandings or misreadings of one's projects. Yeah, so we have some last minutes. I was thinking that we will have a discussion, but now it will be a very mini discussion. So the thoughts towards this mini discussion is, well, how did it go? I know that many people have been in all of the lectures, many people have been in some of the lectures. So how do you feel with this kind of work and this kind of projects that were presented? Would you imagine working with some Sami project in the future? Yes, some kind of these questions.
Yeah, I think I'm not from curriculum studies, but it was very interesting insights for me on the perspective overall of how you can deal with such difficult topics of presenting not your culture, but like the culture that you are not part of, but somehow connected to by managing it, and which obstacles you go through. It was very interesting and like made me think about how could I, from my perspective, maybe not as a creator, but as an artist, work with these topics on interpretation of different experiences and cultures.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Sure.
You were
no,
the
go
first.
on.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you that you are the proof that you are active artist, also active curator. You write theoretical articles, and also you have new ideas how to support the community. So you are a Renaissance person, and it's glad to meet a woman like you. You are inspiring.
Thank you very much, but that is very kind. But I very much recommend to you these kinds. It sounds like multitasking, but it is a fun part of it.
And personally, you are really kind, and you have energy to share your experience and go from this really long distance to Czech Republic to meet us.
Thank you so much. That's so kind. Thank you so much.
And as an artist, I was so interested in about how to present my art to curators and museums and everything. So I think with your speeches and your presentations and everything, I got a lot of information how to present myself in the artist market or something like that. So I want to share so much, because always when you're in the university, people somehow tell you like, oh, you're going to be in the future market soon because you're going to end your studies and everything. So sometimes it's a little bit worrying and scary for us. And having someone that works on it, that is actually into it and knows a lot about it, tells you how to manage it and how to present and the things that you are most interested in as a curator and everything. It has been like a bigger knowledge for me.
Thanks, but in this context for the artists, I do think that most important to remember that big institutions are consisting of people, and people are usually, you always can find friends, people who understand what you say, so it's always a matter of a call or an email or a meeting, and it can be very, very nice projects to come.
I wanted to, like, I was curious why you don't work with Sami themes, even though you were so intricately attached to it. Is it a question of ethics? And if it's a question of ethics, how non-Sami people can approach Sami art and not make it look like an other culture or I think that's the question.
That's very thematical and topical question now, because Sami artists are very popular. After Venezia Biennale, especially, people are asked to come to a lot of events, and it's almost more proposals than they can manage. They are very, very busy people. And there are a lot of projects which are coming from different communities, different exhibitions, festivals, research projects. So I would think that in approaching of Sami artists in connection to the projects, it needs to be a project which they see as meaningful for them, not any project, because they get a lot of proposals, and you know, everyone has very limited capacity and time, so it needs to be something what is deeply meaningful for the community. And about my interest in work with Sami art, that is in connection to my PhD in the University of Lapland, but here I will say one more, a bit of confession. Okay, now comes confession. So I have been in many art academies, too many art academies for one person, but it worked in some way. But the only one art academy, it was Konstfack in Stockholm, where at that time, and that time is kind of until 2020, like 2019, 2020, the indigenous artists were in the teaching positions. And I was shown to quite a bit of Thomas Colbertson, so here comes a bit of confession. He was my professor when I was studying in Konstfack, but in the context that he was leading the printmaking studio, and I was doing a lot of printmaking and kind of day and evening spent printing. So we talked quite a lot, and he showed his artworks, which are based on the photographs, and for me that's kind of this 2018, 2020, I was thinking I'm super interested in knowing more about Sami community. And at the same time I got in the PhD program University of Lapland, where it is in Sami, and there I could study more about Sami community. And when I got this job, I was so nervous, because I was thinking, I do not know a single person, I do not know where I am coming. And when I came, I received the exhibition plan, and there was a very pleasant surprise awaiting. That the first exhibition I needed to curate was by Thomas Colbenson. So for me it was a feeling that at least I know one person, and I'm meeting that person again after the break of several years when we did not communicate. But what I can say that, well, that is very much depending on the institutions, I do believe, whom institutions invite to teach, whom do you meet as a student, because as young people are usually, I don't know how I am people, I do not know, but at least when I remember my situation as a student, I was super curious, and some things which seemed interesting, it was like the push to learn more and more and more and more. So. Important for the art academies and the universities to create such meetings with the students. Okay, thank you so much, and I am looking forward to Supermarket Art Fair and meeting some of the colleagues there, and best of luck in your projects, your studies, and wishing you loads of inspiration this and coming years. Thank you so much.